Greetings, Gunslinger family. This is Chaplain Andrew McIntosh, your Wing Chaplain. Today, for our fourth video, I want to talk not just to you as a gunslinger, but also to your spouses. I'm here in my office where I do a lot of counseling. Sometimes I do premarital counseling, which I really actually enjoy because I love the optimism in a premarital couple. They think everything's going to be going smooth, it's going to be fun, it's going to be wonderful, and they're happily ever after. And then there are the married couples. These are the people who know that happily ever after takes work. And that could be people who've been married 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years. I've counseled couples married over 20 years. And they're committed to each other. They want to make it better, but they're not sure how. Well, one of the best pieces of advice I got was from a friend of mine by the name of Gary Chapman. His book, The 5 Love Languages, was first published around 1992. This is a 1995 version right here. And I first heard about it back in 1997 when I was a young minister in Georgia. And it was wonderful advice. And here's what it is in a nutshell. Everybody has a primary love language in which they give and receive love the best. The problem is they're married to somebody who probably doesn't share that same primary love language. Just like, for example, if I spoke only German and I was trying to communicate with somebody who only spoke English, I would be sincere in trying to tell them exactly in German what I want them to know, and they would be very sincere in trying to tell me in English exactly what they want me to know, but I wouldn't understand him and he wouldn't understand me. Well, the same thing can be said for love languages. So here's what those 5 are. First of all, physical touch. This could be anything from holding hands to sexual fulfillment. Second of all, you've got acts of service. This is doing things for your spouse that you don't normally do. So as a guy, if you normally take out the trash, take care of the lawn, take care of the cars, things like that, that's standard. But let's say you don't normally do laundry, wash the dishes, clean the bathrooms. Well, that would be extraordinary. And to do that for your spouse would certainly count as an act of service. A third one would be quality time. This is time spent focused on one another, not distracted by the movie you're watching or things like that, but actually focused on one another, doing what each other enjoys without the distractions around you. A fourth one would be gifts. Gifts are going to be those things in which you do kind of out of the ordinary. Not your Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Mother's Day gifts. These are things just because. It can be just a small gift to remind them you're thinking about them. And then lastly, the words of affirmation. This can be either spoken or written in which you basically tell them I love them or appreciation, hey, you're a great mom, you're a wonderful dad, etc., etc., etc. So those are the 5 love languages in a nutshell. The problem is we're sometimes guessing on what our spouse's love language is. So here are 3 easy ways to find out what their love language is. First of all, what do they do to show you love? Maybe your wife, for example, might do acts of service all the time, but she does it so often you just take it for granted. You don't see that she's trying to show you that she loves you by what she does for you. So in order for you to show her love, maybe you need to do some acts of service. If you haven't cleaned the bathrooms in 5 years, maybe that's something you need to do, okay? Or wash the dishes, do the laundry, whatever it is, vacuum the house that you normally don't do for your spouse. Okay, what about you? Maybe your love language is physical touch, okay? So that may be a way that you try to express it. But for them, it may be something different. So think about what they try to do for you most often. Second of all, what do they complain about the most? Have you ever heard them say, hey, when you come back from TDY, you never bring me anything? They're saying gifts are important to them. Why don't you ever tell me that you love me? Well, words of affirmation are important. When's the last time we really spent time together? Quality time's important. Or what about, hey, when's the last time you helped me with putting the kids to bed? Maybe acts of service is important. Or lastly, we wouldn't have any sex if you didn't initiate it, kind of stuff. That's saying that physical touch is important. So what they complain about may be a sign for what their love language is. And here's a third way to find out. Remember back in high school when you did chemistry class, for example, and you had to do an experiment? You had to add chemicals together or things like that, and you kind of record what the reaction was to kind of measure the effectiveness of something. Well, I want you to do a little experiment at home over the next month, okay? Over the next few weeks, I want you to try each week a different kind of love language, and then I want you to record, whether mentally or on paper, what your spouse's reaction to that is. So one week you could dedicate it to physical touch and say, I'm going to be particularly affectionate this week. Another week, you can say it's acts of service. I'm going to go out of my way to do something I don't normally do for my spouse. The third week could be words of affirmation. Maybe you could write a card and give it to them with a poem inside. Or maybe you could just tell them out of the way, just say, hey, I love you, you're a great mom, great wife, etc. Fourth, maybe you could do a gift and just bring something home out of the ordinary that you don't normally bring. So you could try the 5 love languages over the next 5 weeks and then record how they react to it. Spend some quality time and say, hey, is this something that he or she really appreciated? You know, get those gifts you don't normally get. Do that physical touch that you may, not initiate. Whatever it is, try it. It's worth it, because this is one way in which you could strengthen your marriage. And what you could find is these few months that you've had to spend this extra time together as you've been quarantined at home or not been able to travel as much and go out to eat or whatever, can actually turn out to be one of the best times you've ever had in your marriage. So once again, I'm your chaplain. If you ever want to talk, feel free to give me a call. God bless and have a great day.